Hello everyone. Today we're going to use fossilized amber to begin our beautiful wallpaper look background on our card front. I smushed it onto the work surface here. I'm going to spray it with a little water and then we're going to smush the paper into it. This is the fastest way to add color to the front of a card. And then you can keep adding the color where you need it on the card that it didn't work so well. Then I will dry this and we'll go on. While I dried it earlier, I spritzed it with some water from high above. Now I'm adding larger water droplets with a paintbrush, and then I will dry this, and this will give us a more distressed look. Now I'm going to stencil our fleur-de-lis pattern on our yellow background. I'm using this wonderful Kaisercraft stencil. It has 6 different patterns. Great for using for card fronts. I'm lining up the corner of my inked panel, my yellow panel, and to the corner of the stencil. Then I will use the Spiced Marmalade Distress Oxide ink and an applicator tool to color the middle of our fleur-de-lis patterns orange. Then we'll use the Fired Brick Distress Oxide ink to color the outside edges of our fleur-de-lis patterns. On this stencil, the fleur-de-lis line straight up and down in columns. So you just stencil straight up and down with the orange and straight up and down with the red. I do love to stencil. You get great results. And these inks are great for stenciling because they blend so well. On this stencil is a little small for the size panel I'm making, so I will have to move it a little bit, line up the inked patterns, and finish the whole front. Sometimes if I don't like the color, I'll line it up again and re-stencil the parts that I think need a little more red or orange, as the case may be. We could have left the panel just as it was, but I decided to spray it with some more water, and this will let the orange and red inks, the Distress Oxide inks, blend a little into the yellow background, making it a little more aged looking. Now we're using the Kaisercraft Tiny Roses embossing folder to emboss this beautiful rose pattern on the front of the panel. I had to make sure I positioned it correctly so the roses were going up. I love the little design that these tiny roses make on this panel. It really does look like older wallpaper, especially the older flocked wallpapers that we used to all love and enjoy. Now we're going to use our dies. I'm using our Daily Bread dies. First, the Art Deco border. This is a 5.5 inch beautiful little border. I'm going to ink it with both the Orange Marmalade and the Fired Brick pattern inks. I used the Orange Marmalade down the center of the border and the Fired Brick around the outside edges. They really blend together nicely, don't you think? Our next die cut piece is also from our Daily Bread. It is the Faith border. It's another 5.5 inch border, and I will use the Fired Brick to color this in. And I also cut a piece of cardstock the same width as the strip that goes under the word Faith and colored it in with, or inked it in with the Fired Brick Oxide ink also. Oxides for this type of project because they blend so well. On the Faith is a little delicate, so I like to pounce, and the pouncing would give you splotchy results with regular distress inks, but not. We could have left this border just as it is, but I decided to add a piece of ribbon down the middle. Just happen to have this piece that matches beautifully to the Fired Brick color. I'm going to cut it off at a diagonal so that I can weave it through this border. I'll speed this up a little bit so you don't have to be bored by watching me thread this through. I like using ribbon. It gives a nice texture to your cards. Doesn't that ribbon just add that little extra something to this wonderful die cut border? We're going to add it to the front of our card, about 3/8 of an inch from the bottom. We're going to flip it over and use the Nouveau Deluxe Adhesive. It's a clear drying craft glue with a cute little diamond top on the lid, and it has a wonderful little tip that doesn't clog and allows you to do really fine lines and dots. I'm going to add this all across the back of this die cut and then attach it to the card. This glue dries quickly, but not too quickly. Some do that, you know, but you have plenty of time to add your little dots and then put it on your card. Now we'll use the same glue to apply a line of adhesive across the back of the plain piece of cardstock. I didn't put any on the end so I'd have something to hold on to fasten it to the front of the card. Then we will do the same with the Faith die cut. Run a line across the bottom and then little dots along the letters. And then I like to use tweezers to attach a die cut like this so I don't get glue all over my fingers. I used little pieces of score tape and a paper piercer to remove the paper backing from the score tape to fasten the ends of the ribbon to the back of the card. You don't need to worry about removing the excess ribbon on the back of this card, but you do need to snip off the little pieces of cardstock that are hanging off. Because this card is embossed, I decided to use score tape to attach it to the front of the card base. That way I'm sure it won't come off your card. I love score tape. I use it for lots of different projects, and my store, Paper Arts, carries plenty of it in all sizes from 1/8 inch up to 1 inch. I attached this panel to the front of a top folding note card. And we could have left the card just like this. However, I wanted to add something else to the front. Because I wanted to add 2 identical bows, I got out my Crafty Bows maker. We carry these at the store also. The little pieces of steel rod are stored inside the block base. And you can make several different sizes of bows. Basically, you use a square knot to make your bow. And when it's done, it will not come untied. Instructions are included with the Crafty Bows maker, and I really love this bow maker. I'll speed up through the second bow and you will know they are identically sized. Now to attach the bows, I decided to use the same Nouveau adhesive. I just added a little drop where each bow will go, and then I used my tweezers to help me position these just perfectly. Try to keep the glue off myself. You just have to let this dry a little bit, and our beautiful embossed stencil card is finished.